All right, welcome back. It's time for round two of the Meme Team. A double dose this week. Another person having a pretty rough go of it this week, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's come under fire for sharing pictures of her grandma's collapsed house in Puerto Rico. And of course, social media, never missing a moment. They were quick to bring up the heat and asked why AOC's abuela, as she calls her, lives in those conditions while she is driving a brand new Tesla, living in a high-rise luxury apartment in Washington, D.C., and of course making that $175,000 a year salary from U.S. taxpayers like you and me. Of course, the memes came pouring in after her assessment of her abuela's house in Puerto Rico. Here's this one. It has a picture of AOC, a cartoon with stacks of cash and coins, and an old woman who is obviously struggling in Puerto Rico. Please help me with my home. It's collapsing and I can't pay rent. And AOC says, I'm sorry, Trump didn't help you. Here's another one. It's a classic meme, the kid drowning while her mother helps the other kid. It's AOC having fun with her Tesla while her grandmother is there, the drowning child. And then the classic Eric Andre shooter meme. Eric there shooting someone, her grandmother, living in terrible conditions for years, and then Eric Andre, let's get off that one. And bring back in our Meme Team here for our special AOC edition with us, host of Stacey on the Right on Sirius XM. It is the woman herself, Stacey Washington. Aaron Elmore is also here. Aaron Elmore Esquire, E-squared, Republican strategist, and Seth Dillon, the CEO of the Babylon Bee. Guys, thanks for sticking around. All right, let's talk about our AOC memes here. What do you got for us, Stacey?
Well, the Bible says if you don't care for the members of your own family, you're worse than an infidel. And you have AOC stacking them dollars and coins and cash. She's stacking those bills, and she's got a Tesla, which I don't know which one she has, but they range anywhere from $38,000 to over $100,000 for a Tesla. And so she's got that kind of dough laying around. I mean, she might have borrowed, but whatever. She's in the top 10% of income earners in the country as a member of Congress, earning over $170,000 a year. So speaking quite candidly from my own experience, I know that you don't have to make $170,000 a year to pay your grandma's rent or to send a carpenter over to her house to fix her roof. It's not the government's job to take care of your grandma, AOC. It's your job. And so if your family members can't get together and pull together $5,000–6,000 to fix her up, then bring her to the United States and let her live in your condo with you, or bring her to the Tony suburbs where your parents live. But for goodness sake, stop trying to act like it's our problem. We all have our own grandmas or our own relatives that we're taking care of under high cost conditions because of Joe Biden and his inflationary spending policies. So, right. I want her to take care of her own stuff and stop acting like it's Trump's responsibility or mine. That's not my abuela. That's hers.
But she also talks, too, about the fact that she mentions this all the time, Aaron, that she's a first-gen Latina woman and, has all these struggles in this country. But I looked it up this week. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, she's not a first-generation American. Those are people who are born in foreign countries and naturalized to the United States. She's not even a second generation. Her father's from this country as well. She's somewhere between the second and third. But anyway, I digress. Let's go to Aaron's meme here. What do you got for us, Aaron?
Little play on words here. All the bad weather is Trump's fault because he pulled out of the Honda Accord. This is just a play on how Alexandria, let's call her Sandy Cortez, because that's what her real name was until about 2 years ago. Sandy just says anything, and if it's anyone's fault, Trump, 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 you're racist. Trump, 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 you're racist. So this is just how her plan works. So she never says anything that's really logical or actual or factual. If you want to stop having criminals, stop building jails, she said this week. These things are not grounded in fact, not grounded in reality. She just talks. Let's make AOC bartend again. I think that's where she belongs. We need her to stop being an elected official. I just want to meet some of the people that voted for her. I just want to be like, okay, who are you? Why did you think she was qualified? Why are you voting for this woman? Of course, I feel badly for her grandmother, but I think Stacey said all there is to say. You take care of your family. Yeah,
well, they made a whole documentary about how great she was before she even got into office, and she's riding the coattails of that. So, Seth, let's give us your meme here. One more meme.
AOC claims her abuela died in attack on Capitol. Now, she's such a drama queen, isn't she? Do you remember how she was responding to the Capitol situation there, where she talked about being PTSD. Traumatized, and she's huddled in a corner and she's fearing for her life, and she was so scared that she was going to die. She thought she was going to die at any moment. She wasn't even on site where that was happening. So This is just kind of poking at her for that, how dramatic she is. But I think the bigger point with this is the hypocrisy. This idea, she resents wealthy people so much. She thinks wealth should be redistributed everywhere. Relative to most people in the world, she's extremely wealthy herself, and that she has family members suffering in squalor and in a dilapidated building in bad conditions, and she's not stepping in to help. She's not practicing what she preaches. I think that's really the main point to make. But mine here is just poking at her for being a ridiculous drama queen.
Yeah, don't forget about, too, the Puerto Rican government, too, which has its issues with corruption as well. Aaron, you mentioned that idea, we'll call it an idea from AOC on how to get rid of crime. Let's go ahead and take a look, because there's something else I want to ask you guys about this clip.
If we want to reduce violent crime, if we want to reduce the number of people in our jails, the answer is to stop building more of them. The answer is to make sure that we actually build more hospitals, we pay organizers, we get people mental health care and overall health care, employment, etc. It's to support communities, not throw them away.
All right, real quick, I want to play the thought bubble game with you. First to you, Stacey. Chuck Schumer, what is he thinking? What is Jamal Bowman thinking there to AOC's left? Both of them had strained looks on their faces when she was saying that.
So, thought bubble, spoken like someone who has full-time Capitol Police protection. Most Americans want jails built because criminals need to be housed in them. But she did make a good point. I want to give her kudos talking about mental health care. Democrats are the reason why our current mental health care apparatus is in the state that it's in, because they govern with feelings, and they dismantled a lot of the systems that we had to help people who were mentally ill stay off the streets. We need to reconstitute that system, get people who are mentally ill off the streets, to include our wonderful veterans who are not being cared for right now. So if that's the direction AOC wants to move in, I'm right here, Stacey on the right, supporting that. But the rest of what she said is nonsense. And that's what the bubbles would say. That's nonsense.
All right. To you, Aaron, then you, Seth, real quickly. Thought bubbles for Jamal Bowman and Chuck Schumer there.
Oh gosh, I can't even think what they're thinking. I think they're rolling their eyes and just wishing they had another Starbucks. But I agree with Stacey completely. Mental health is a major problem in this country. And instead of working to help these people, they say, oh, they deserve to live on the streets. They can steal up to $1,000 a day. And all that does is create a vicious cycle where people aren't getting treatment. When people go to jail for stealing, they do get drug counseling in jail. They do get mental health treatment in jail. And sometimes this actually works to rehabilitate people and get them off the streets into proper housing and proper health care and proper mental health care. So I do believe that the Democrats have created a problem that's far worse than it used to be. If you just look at what's going on in California, they're the paradigm for this. It's truly horrible. And yet now they see that it is a problem, and they deny and refuse to acknowledge their place in any of it. So truthfully, I'm glad that she is speaking up about mental health. I just wish they realized that she was part of the problem for creating it.
All right, guys, we got to leave it there. Unfortunately, we are out of time. Seth, thanks so much. Great to see you as always. Stacey and Aaron, we'll see you guys very soon. All right. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come here on John Bachman Now. President Trump is demanding $10 trillion from the CCP. I'll tell you why next.